Look at this in front of us. Mitch, you are the reason that these are in front of us here in Louisville. Our first night here at the Galt Hotel. But these are from Buffalo Trace. That's what he said, yeah. This is from like the Holy Grail. You're smelling it.
Sniffing it. What notes are you picking up?
Well, yeah, what?
Vanilla and caramel.
But guys, we're not having a flight tonight, right? But we are, tomorrow, we're starting the trip going to Buffalo Trace, the Holy Grail of bourbon. So the bad news first. I was told we did not get access to the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection sample. Curses. However,
Oh yeah, there he goes.
I brought us to pregame a bottle
Oh, wow.
of Thomas Handy Sazerac from 2021, 129 proof, part of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. I want to crack this with you guys.
Well, as you peel that open, can you talk to me about, look, I'm
What's a tannin?
I want to move on because it's late. Because you know what time it is? It's 11:30.
And guess what, Dan?
It's 11:30 in Louisville. Louisville?
Louisville.
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 Louisville. Yeah.
Louisville.
It's all one syllable.
Are you from here, sir?
I am.
Is it 3 syllables?
Louisville. Am I saying it right? I'm Cincinnati. Louisville.
I personally do not want to go in and mispronounce the name of this terrific city that we're in.
He's close. Louisville.
Can I try it on you?
Yeah.
2.5 syllables.
Look, 2.5 syllables.
Yeah, so yeah, that sounds right.
Louisville. No,
Bull. You got bull.
Louisville.
There you go.
Like VUL at the end.
It's the less you care about saying it, the better it sounds.
Louisville.
Like saying your best friend Louis' name, Louis, and then bull, like a bull, but with B, Louisville.
Louisville.
But you gotta like really.
Will that hold? Will that hold up? All right.
They'll still know you're from New York.
Well, after a little USOB hiatus, the bung knockers are back. And what better way to char the barrels back up than to start where it all began? Day one of our epic journey together. We arrive in beautiful Frankfort, Kentucky, surrounded by Buffalo Trace's many historic buildings, and the excitement is brewing as we prepare to meet the folks who quite literally put the magic in a bottle. Time to get started, time to get educated, as my fanboy mode continues to be in overdrive.
Hello, gentlemen. It's a great honor and pleasure. Thank you for welcoming us to the Holy Grail of bourbon. Well, it is. It is for us and for so many, as you well know. But what a gorgeous complex.
Yeah.
An amazing facility. The four of us collectively had met for the very first time last night when we all arrived in Louisville.
You got it. Look at you.
Yes, Freddie! I did it!
It's close. It's close.
I nailed it. Graham and I both come from the world of Broadway theater. I direct largely musicals. Graham is a Broadway actor. Brandon is a composer. Mitch is illustrator, Batman for DC Comics. He's our fanciest guest here. We're on a quest to rediscover America through the art forms that are uniquely American. Bourbon ain't bourbon if it's not made in America. Last night, we all sort of identified that bourbon started to become a passion of ours during the onset of the pandemic. So quite frankly, we were out of business. I mean, there was nothing else and I was looking for something, and I found solace and pleasure in bourbons, in our native spirit, and then the stories behind the distilleries. It's like staggering. I'm fanboying a little bit. I apologize in advance, but yeah, we'd love to be shown around and have a chat. We're here with Harlen Wheatley, master distiller of Buffalo Trace. We're absolutely thrilled to be here. You are the 6th master distiller of Buffalo Trace since the Civil War. Can you tell us about your journey?
Yeah, at this distillery, it's more of a traditional journey. We try to traditionally train the distillers. The idea is to hand off the legacy and the operations so it'll continue into the future. And when I started under a chemist. His name was Gary Gayhart, and he worked here for 36 years. You know, I just worked for him for 10 years, and then after he retired, I took over. Traditionally, it takes time to learn the operation enough to be dangerous. And then, my degree's in chemical engineering, so I use some of my school knowledge to help me at the beginning, and it's kind of carried me through because we've done a lot of engineering projects, and I get asked that all the time, what does a master distiller do? And each distillery is a little bit different. We've had a fun journey because we started with 0 cases with Buffalo Trace.
Right.
And other brands that we've released and started. And we have a really great experimental program. We're privately held, so our owners allow us to experiment and encourage us to try new things and develop new flavors and excitement in the category, because we believe the best whiskey hasn't been made yet. And so we're always searching and learning from different experiments.
Right.
Whether it be with recipe or distillation or environment or wood or location, airflow, and all these things that we're looking at to stay within the bounds of bourbon making and create different flavors, We're not doing finishes as much as we are traditional processes to create different flavors from scratch,
It might be traditional, but it's exceptional. And you know what you're drinking. I mean, when you put your lips on that, it's unbelievable. I mean, how do you sustain that?
Well, we have done a lot of work to try to make sure we can be consistent from batch to batch. You're factoring in a lot of biological things like people and weather and wood and sun, and on top of it, the processes on a daily basis like cooking and fermenting and distilling, and the whole key to that, just like anything in any business, is to be consistent.
I think I share a somewhat of a parallel thing with you insofar as my late great boss, Harold Prince, who had a 70-year career in musical theater and produced and directed some of the most famous things of all time. And I was his lieutenant for the better part of 2 decades. So part of my job was curating Phantom of the Opera. People love Phantom of the Opera, so it's about making sure when people go see Phantom, they're seeing the Phantom that they expect, right? Not reinventing the wheel, just maintaining something that was established and keeping it consistent. Same with the Vita. But then there was also the other part of the job where your experimental series are new projects where we're testing new waters, same thing.
Well, I like both, which is good, because I like the history of our products and the legacy and the tradition that we have, 240 years of making this place go. I do feel responsible to make sure that all these things are in place for all these people that are here. We have 700 plus people now, and it's important to do the best job we can to make sure that these jobs are secure. And we also are proud of the product, and that's really what makes us tick, is we're proud of our products, and we're proud of what we do, we're proud of our legacy.
What do you do for fun?
Make a lot of whiskey. we have fun doing that, and then anything outside, boating, fishing.
Do you like Broadway musicals?
I do. I go up there. Try to go to one a year anyway.
Do you really?
Yeah. The last one I saw was Lion King last year.
All right.
It was good.
Yeah.
I knew the ending was the problem. It was like anticlimactic.
Thank you, Harlen. Really
Good
appreciate
stuff.
it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Easy questions.
Under your chair. Right over here, Eagle Rare.
The official job title is archivist and exhibit designer for Sazerac, parent company of Buffalo Trace, right? But I also wear the hat of the only bourbon archaeologist in the world, and that led to the discovery of Bourbon Pompeii, which we'll see here in a minute.
So you're the Indiana Jones of bourbon.
That belongs in a museum.
Yeah, I've been called that before. Yeah, it's the worst things to be called, right? So yeah,
Best job title I've ever heard.
I run from barrels instead of boulders, so that works out. There's nothing that quite compares to the excavation of these two distilleries that are buried underneath Buffalo Trace. 1952, Shinley Distillers was here. They decided they were losing money on this room. They wanted to decommission it, make it into equipment storage. And so they yanked out all the copper in these vats, poured the concrete floor. 70 years later, nobody remembers a thing about this. We were going to turn this big empty space into event space. But in order to do that, we had to dig down on the inside. So over where the catwalk is where we started. Big Bobcat got in there and started pulling up the floor, and they started running into old stuff. And that's when Buffalo Trace stopped, and they called me because I'd already made a reputation as archaeologist excavating things, right? All I got was a message, hey, this is Buffalo Trace, we found something old, do you want to come and look at it? That was it. That was enough to get me over here. I was curious. They gave me a weekend. They're like, from an archaeologist perspective, tell us what's going on in here. So I'm nerding out about the dirt. I'm telling Mark Brown and the other leadership people that were here on Monday about it. And then I just happened to mention that my tools were sitting up against Colonel Taylor's fermenting vats. And it was like a record scratcher. And they were like, wait a minute, go back a second. What do you mean? And we started looking at the maps of the place, and it says 8 fermenting vats, 14,000 gallons apiece, subterranean, lined in copper. And that's when we realized that the concrete floor was capping these things. And my weekend turned into about 1.5 years of excavation.
Wow.
We were here with the big construction crew, and Mark's instructions were dig to China.
You keep digging like this, you're gonna go straight through to China.
Find everything. We want to know exactly what was going on here, right? The Swigert Distillery, which is 1869, is when it was ripped down, and OFC version 1, that was erected in about 1872 or so. It lasted for about 10 years, got struck by lightning, burned to the ground. And Taylor used the insurance money to build everything around us into OFC version 2. So this building around us, built in 1882, really hasn't changed that much since. We were able to actually activate one of the vats, and we're doing it in Colonel E.H. Taylor's style, what he was doing here in the OFC distillery, right? We used all of the excavation data, the words that Taylor left us in his documents, his diaries, other thoughts like that. And then we're able to actually do things like swabs of the copper in here, get the last strains of yeast that were in contact with it, put all that together, and a little modern technology, like the vent hood there wasn't historic. And we're experimenting with what Taylor was doing here with OFC, his style, 1880s or so. We'll be able to taste it in a year or two now. So
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
But to start from the top.
So you want the bung on the top, because that's the weak spot normally. So if it was down here, it could leak and you have a catastrophic loss. And then, or you have a leaky bung, and that's a bad thing. Nobody wants a leaky bung. So you keep the bungs up top. And it ages through expansion and contraction. And so as it gets hotter, it pushes out. It gets warmer or cooler, it pulls back in. When you get higher up, you have more extreme. So you lose more. On average, you lose 3 to 5% of a barrel every year. Up top, you lose even maybe a little bit more. So up top, you have young bourbon up there. Down here, you have the older bourbon. So if you think of bourbon, when you walk into a liquor store, the top shelf bourbon, that's aged in the bottom of the warehouse. It's a cooler, less movement. The younger bourbon, the bottom shelf bourbon, is aged in the top of the warehouse. Middle-aged bourbon sits in the middle part. So it's all based upon that location. If you took a mash bill 1, which is corn, rye, malted barley. Mash bill 2 is corn, more rye, and malted barley. And then we have the wheated recipe, that's the corn wheat multiplier. If you took mash bill 1 and you aged it down here, it'll be Stagg or Eagle Rare. You took that same mash bill and put it in the middle part of the warehouse, it's going to be E.H. Taylor or Buffalo Trace. Take that same mash bill and you put it in the top floors, it's going to be Benchmark or Charter Oak. If you want to see some cool stuff, watch your head through here, okay? But back this way.
You in particular. Brandon.
Yeah, I think I'll be all right.
Brandon, not so much you. I'll be fine.
This is bourbon. It's on hold, it's experimental. I think this is 2018, I believe. We were gonna create some more event space back in the old distillery. 2015, Ben's team came in there and said, this would be a great spot. It's right on the river.
I think we just came from there. Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Oh, that we saw. We
Gauge
looked
is that
down.
being fermented in there?
Yeah.
That's that. Out of that 5,600 gallons, they'll make 12 barrels. Here's 2 of them. So this is that juice. This is that sort of that old-fashioned way. It's gonna left open. Because you take that mash, and what the alcohol is when you run that mash through the still, steam hits, the alcohol rolls out the top. That mash comes out the bottom. You just pick it up, that alcohol content that comes out the top.
Thank you.
I will tell you this though, pay attention to those pictures, because this is a very haunted warehouse.
I was going to ask about that. Okay.
And I've been in here many times. There's a lot of old spirits in here, so be aware of that.
Are you going for fun? You did. You went for a fun.
Yeah.
This is wild. Look at this.
Do we look casual? This is casual.
I love it.
This is how people would casually talk to each other.
Yes. It's a great honor, truly, to be sitting down with you. 3rd generation here at Buffalo Trace.
Correct.
Your father, Jimmy.
Yes.
Your grandfather, Jimmy Sr.
Yes.
And Jimmy Sr., from what I read, he was the first black foreman of a distillery anywhere in Kentucky.
So he, on the other side of the building there is the Kentucky River. And he and Colonel Blanton met there as kids, throwing rocks in the river. Old Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn's kind of a story. They became friends and they were here together for 52 years. And that was the start of it. So Colonel Blanton would have Granddad go in and pull barrels that he would use to win political favors with. So this distillery never closed through Prohibition, the floods, the wars, all that, stayed open through all of that. So it is the oldest continually operated distillery in the United States. And so they would sit around and smoke cigars and make decisions about the state of Kentucky outside of the House of the Senate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's done right here on property.
Wow.
So do you still dole out bottles of Pappy for political favor here in Kentucky?
You know what? Don't
Just for that.
I think we need another question. I can see right now we're going to jail. No.
We all have to go somewhere.
At this point, there were only 50 people left at Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Wow.
So they had pretty much let everybody go.
Just in contrast, how many people are?
At one point, there were 1,000 people working here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Down to 100.
So dropped down to 50 people. And basically, they were just getting rid of inventory. And so he said, just promise me if you get a chance, during my lifetime, would you work at the distillery with me so I could tell people we had 3 direct generations to work at this distillery.
Can I ask you, when your father asked you to make him that promise and the state of bourbon was what it was, only 50 people working at the factory, did you feel like it was sort of like, okay, Dad, I love you, I'll do this, but did you in your back of your mind think that there was no future? Did you think there was a future, or is this like
this will never happen? But sure, Dad, I'll appease you. And Dad, I'll come.
a couple weekends and then I'll go back to what I'm doing?
No, I had no earthly idea that that all these things, the sequence of events that would follow, just making a promise. So I was fascinated with not the liquid in the bottle, but it was how did you get there? And that's the journey that when they talked about Harlen and I getting a chance to do this with you, Dan, I really was excited about that because very few people understand the journey. It's the piece parts all along the way that create the product at the end. I had a very nice career. I ended up working with Bell Labs and doing network controls for AT&T, underground military sites,
Wow.
top secret security clearance and stuff like that.
What do you know? Oh, forget it. It's okay. No.
No secrets.
Stop asking questions he can't answer. And says, well, since you're coming back, if anything ever happens to me, will you promise me you'll be my caregiver? And that's really how I got locked into this distillery, is I didn't understand caregiving. He would even drive by sometimes when he was too weak to walk. He would drive by in his old car and he would pull up and he'd just look at me and smile sometimes as I was escorting people around the property. The bottom line is promises made, promises kept. Of all the gifts I've ever given my father, Dan, believe it or not, just keeping a promise to him and walking around this distillery with him meant more to him than any gift I've ever given my dad. And I gave him some really nice gifts. So I use that when I talk to people about making bourbon and whiskey and the journey that you're on right now, because people lose sight of that. The folks that this distillery, the legacy of any distillery that's been around for a while, you have to think about this. We today are enjoying a product that someone made years before us, and they never got to taste their own product. So that's what this is about. It's not about who we are today. It's the legacy that you leave behind when you no longer walk this earth. So that whiskey in a bottle is, they're saying, I'm giving you what the best I could give while I was here.
It seems, I mean, listen, you're a legend. It's true. And you are. And everybody, you know, you're intimate. The amount of knowledge that you have, the personal history, how connected you are to all of it. And quite frankly, in our conversation right now, the poetry and what you're saying, it's just it draws you in because it's passionate and it's earnest. Bourbon as an art form was something that gobsmacked me, totally blindsided me. It became much more about the liquid in the bottle. It became about the stories behind these distilleries, and especially in the face of all of the challenges in American history.
It's the piece parts all along the way that create the product at the end. So the product in the bottle is just a conduit. It's just something that provides you the opportunity to spend time with people you enjoy their company. But see, that's my purpose in life. It's to drive you to drinking, and that's going to continue to drive.
You have succeeded, my friend. Job well done. Post the book on that.
Before we start this tasting, 3 unspoken Freddie rules. The first Freddie unspoken rule is this: you will never bring out a good bottle of anything with people you don't like. Second rule: if I do like you enough to bring the bottle out, guess what? You are obligated to listen to what I went through to acquire it. I have to tell my story. You know, I got one of only 6 bottles of the story. You have to tell that story. And without even realizing it, you're realizing that you're heading into the third rule. And the third unspoken rule is, no matter how happy you are to see someone and how much you want to share a good pour, if you're rushed to go to another event, it's not the right time to bring out the special bottle because you don't want to just shoot it and run. The ultimate compliment that you can receive when you bring out a good bottle is when somebody, after sipping for a bit, the statement is, oh my word, look at the time.
Love it.
And you realize for a brief moment, they were enjoying the company and the moment so much that time was not a factor. But the reality is time is a factor. And that's why the comment that Harlen made about, we're putting away product today that we will never live to taste. And we get it, okay? But what a story to be shared with another generation. Here's a fun thing. So the purpose of it is when you swirl it around, you increase the surface area, which allows the alcohol volatiles to be able to escape more easily. And the little narrow chimney focuses those vapors so that when you nose it, you get the essence of the product. However, You've seen the professionals do it. And what do? They make a lot of to-do about swirling around and looking at the ambiance and how it cascades down the side. And then but they never tell you why, do they? Roughly every 2 hours, your body changes the dominant nasal passage you breathe from. It does it to protect itself. Now, I can tell you this, we're on a journey, right? So watch this. Take your 2 cups, swirl them around. Now, do the vodka cup first. Do one side of your nose, and then do the other side of your nose. And on one side, you can't smell anything. And on the other side, very lightly, you can smell the vodka.
That's wild.
Now, in a couple of hours, if you do it, it's going to reverse. But watch this. Now watch what time in a barrel does to enhance those fragrances and flavors. Now do it with your Weller cup, and you can smell the Weller on both sides, but I'd be dipped. I can smell it better on one side than I can on the other.
Yeah. Wow.
So now you know why you do this, because when somebody gives you a good pour of something, you don't really know which nostril is the dominant one at the time. So when you swirl it around and you do this, it gives you a chance to pick up on the subtle nuances that would normally be missed. If it's an uncut, unfiltered barrel-proof bourbon that was aged hot, and you swirl it around, it's 130, 140 proof, and just go full nose in, those alcohol volatiles go up both sides, and a lot of times you can actually feel it burning the inside of your nose.
Wow.
Isn't that great, though?
Dan's probably the guy that stuck needles in little bugs and watched it squirm.
Freddie, you have me all wrong. I like to get right in there. Right in there.
Okay.
But duly noted. Duly noted.
So when we do a tasting like this, what's important is you want the folks to appreciate what you're about to share. The term for this is called acclimation. It's a way of helping them go quietly into the night instead of slamming them. Okay? First piece, so that's where the water comes in, and we have plenty more water over here in the cooler. Water, whenever somebody gives you a product to taste that you're not familiar with, water is your friend. Always give them water on the side. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going on a journey. So what I want you to do is take a sip of water first. So in the industry, they call this cleansing your palate. Freddie just calls it rinsing out your mouth, okay?
I like that better.
Now, so what we're gonna do is we're not gonna shoot the vodka, which is what you normally would do with vodka, you just shoot it. We're gonna kiss it. Take your vodka, and you're just gonna splash it up against your lips. So just splash it up against your lips. You taste things in parts per million. You've been doing it since you were a kid. Your tongue comes out, you've got 9,000 receptacles on your tongue, and the tip of your tongue was all you needed to know this vodka is sweet, and your lips just told you it was clean. There was no residual, and you did it just like that. So now you're acclimated to it. The term for this is called acclimation. So now you're acclimated to what you expect. Now just take a sip of your vodka just straight, because now there's no surprises. So the point is...
It's delicious, by the way.
It is.
Yeah. As my dad said, that's a keeper.
I'm not a vodka guy, and that's delicious.
Is that the problem?
Mama going down over here.
I was simply saying, is that my problem? With vodka?
You like it?
It's too easy. That's too smooth.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah.
And there's something to that. There's something to stronger proofs that sometimes when I was a younger man, I'd be like, I don't know what that is, but it's demanding my respect because I cannot drink it quickly. Therefore, I have to pump my own brakes and analyze what this is. And that's when I first came to admire and respect bourbon. Good bourbon?
Go, 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 go. This is a taste test, not a torture test, by the way. Roll it around on your tongue for a little bit, and poof, it's like a starburst explosion. And you get all these soft, fruity notes. It makes your mouth water. It's buttery, it's rich, and the finish is unbelievably smooth.
You're buttery. Wow. Can we shoot it, Freddie?
Can we shoot it?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Shooting?
Yes. What do you think, Daddy-O?
I love it.
A lot of people say, oh, you can't tell the difference between a wheated bourbon and a rye recipe bourbon. Well, watch this. Even though your Weller cup is empty, if you'll notice, you can still smell the whiskey inside. Because if you look at your cup, you'll notice that the coating is still on your cup. Well, it was. Dan, making sure it's not there. Oh, did I leave some? But watch this.
Freddie, I'm this close to eating the plastic cup. You know what I mean?
Now, watch what happens this time. So just remember, rye is robust and wheat is sweet. It's a softer, smoother bourbon. So watch the difference in what happens now.
So Freddie, we have this in-joke. Can you explain what a tannin is to me?
So basically, tannins is just when you're putting a liquid into a barrel, like oak has a lot of tannins in it. It's just chemically, it's something that happens, and usually it's detected as like eating a walnut, and you get a little kind of a dry kind of a finish and all that. So that's just the oak, the properties of the oak that does that. So your wood and all that, it's just a property that's associated with the chemical reaction.
Okay, so
it's the dry feeling in your mouth?
Yeah, it's kind of a dry,
gotcha.
kind of a, yeah. A lot of wines that's been aged for an extended period of time, you get that same dryness on your palate. That's what that's about.
See, that now we know. Now it's not funny, but it's,
Yeah.
it's better.
Yeah,
We'll have to come up with something else.
You had a thought?
No, never. Never, Freddie.
I don't think there's a moment that he doesn't have a thought. Okay, so Blanton's generally runs about 6 to 7 years old. Okay, now you ready for this? And it is 93 proof. So let's take a sip of water and kiss it first. I'll get you some more water. All right, kiss it first.
Oh, I love Blantons.
You got it?
Love it. I genuinely do.
So are we heading in the right direction?
Absolutely.
Ready like a Freddie. I mean, you are putting words onto this that are. It's literally happening as you're describing.
It's like perfectly accurate.
You should do this professionally. You should.
I do drink a lot. Okay.
Everything from the candy to the.
How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Now I want to show you something why this progression is so important and why we did it the way that we did it. So there are some places you'll go and you'll do a tasting and say, well, if you're not in the habit of drinking it, add a little bit of water to it. Well, if I'm not familiar with the product and I over-dilute it, I've ruined it, right? And I can't get back to the original taste. There's another thing that you'll see people do. You'll see a lot of times you'll give them a really good pour and they shoot it and then they slap some water in behind it. All they're doing is getting rid of it. Now, I can tell you this, but I'm gonna show you. So everybody's got a little bit of the rye left. Now watch this. Take your rye and just take a swig of it and hold it in your mouth. Just take it, hold it in your mouth, and with the rye in your mouth, now take a swig of water with the rye in your mouth and watch what happens. Blah, nothing happens. All that you just experienced is gone. So that's why you do it the other way. Because what happens is the alcohol dominates your palate and it blocks you from picking up on any other subtle nuances that you would have gotten a chance to enjoy.
But Freddie, we wasted a sip.
Well, that's why they're not drinking, so you got backup. There are tall ships and there are small ships and there are wooden ships. They sink. The best ships are friendships.
And to those ships, we drink.
Love it.
All right, there you go. Salute.
Cheers. Cheers, Freddie.
Yes, sir. Cool beans.
Wonderful.